Good morning. Good morning to the band. Great to be here with y'all. I just came in on one wheel. I just barely made it here in the nick of time, and I drove from down at Natchez. It's a beautiful town and a beautiful drive on the Natchez Trace, unless you encounter some bikers in construction. I sat there like 15 minutes, on the Natchez Trace, and then finally coming by, there's two bicyclers out around this paving crew. It took literally 15 minutes. They had a bigger girth than I did. It was two Brits, and it took them plenty of time to get around, so I barely made it, and I'm glad to be here. I want to thank the MEC for all that it does for the state of Mississippi. In particular, in one instance, I'm proud to announce that the Houston, Mississippi High School Solar Car team, which my son is a member of, MEC gave $5,000 to send them over to Australia to race in the World Championship Solar Car Racing team. This little team from my hometown of 4,000 kids, or 4,000 people, has won the national championship race 14 years in a row. Fred Smith with FedEx flew them over to Sydney, and then they hauled it up to the northern tip of Australia and raced from Darwin to Adelaide. They just completed the race. They were first among high schoolers in the number of miles that they traveled. They spent 6 nights camping on the ground in the Outback, wherever they finished, and they just landed in LA. They're coming back, and I'm going to Memphis to pick them up tonight. They were racing against teams in a different league, like MIT, Stanford, Cambridge University. All these university teams were looking at this little redneck team from Houston, Mississippi, and going, "What are you kids doing here?" They actually had their own Hollywood documentary team following them around because they thought they would be the first high school team to complete that race. It's 1,800 miles. Well, come to find out, they beat the MIT team. They beat the Stanford team in the race. Now, there's some questions about whether they flipped from first to third, but we know they finished more miles, so we don't really know the answers. The communications were not as good as we anticipated, even with all the technology that we have today. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I've done as Attorney General. I was served as a law clerk at the Mississippi Supreme Court. I was an Assistant Attorney General 5 years. I was in that office. I saw it from the bottom up. And then I served 8 years as District Attorney in Oxford in the 7 counties around Oxford up there. For the past 12 years, I've had the honor of representing you as Attorney General in the state of Mississippi. And some of the issues that I've worked on that affect business are issues such as dealing with technology. I got involved in the technology arena because I know where the gaps are for district attorneys. They're the frontline prosecutors out there for us. But the gaps I started noticing, having a young daughter, and two actually, and my son, worried about the technology and the texting and the sexting and the cyberbullying and all those issues, and we got involved in the technology arena. And that's led us along a long trail of 12 years. We've been sort of at the fore of issues of technology in the state of Mississippi. I was president of the National Association of Attorneys General last year, and I brought a group of attorneys general here to Mississippi to address cybercrime in the future, dealing with 3D printing and all the mischief that's going to bring to us. Everything from intellectual property theft to they'll be printing drugs and guns and all these things that the technology brings us good things. One area that we've now begun to move into, we've trained local law enforcement to deal with, all the technology issues like child exploitation, child pornography, all those issues that it brings with it. But another area that we've kind of moved into is dealing with data breach. And data breach is an issue that many of you in business are very much concerned with. Many of you in the larger corporations have technology people who are protecting your businesses. But a lot of you that deal with small businesses don't necessarily have that IT staff to really protect your systems. And if you have people's personal information, then you're at risk of being hacked, because what's happening is the hackers are moving away from targeting the large corporations to targeting the smaller businesses and smaller governmental entities and doctors' offices that have personal information available. So what we've done is I've worked with about 20 other attorneys general throughout the nation, and we put together a manual. And this manual is to be distributed to governmental entities, to small businesses, about how you protect your systems from a data breach. We have our systems protected quarterly. We have hackers try to get into our system, and usually they can't break in through the technology angle. They do it because of human error. They do it because of people having simple passwords, or better yet, our hackers will use emails to the people in our office to see if they actually open that document. And that's how most of the data breaches occur. One thing I'll mention to you, sort of as a rule of thumb for you business people, you better, you better get somebody on your IT staff who's put in some protection other than just a firewall. Because if you do have a breach, that's not going to protect you. There's no silver bullet to protect you from a lawsuit for loss of private information. You have to have these testing quarterly, or at least twice a year. You have to take a lot of steps to do those protections, such as training employees. So I encourage you, it's going to be a running battle for the next 10 to 20 years, in which government has to work very closely with businesses in not only reporting data breach, but also in trying to keep track of the latest technical spyware that they're using to break into the system. Another area where I've done work that I think have benefited Mississippi businesses is dealing with intellectual property theft. We've done a lot of work. It's companies like Toxie Haze, Mossy Oak. People were stealing their camouflage patterns. There's all kind of technology that Mississippi businesses come up with, and if we don't protect it, China is stealing it at an alarming rate. So we attorneys general have worked together to try to protect our consumers from getting counterfeit drugs. Counterfeit curling irons, straightening irons that cause fires that burn homes in the community. And I think we've been successful. And I was talking to Toxie not long ago, and he was talking about it's helped to deter those people from copying different technologies that we've developed. So I think we AGs have been successful in that arena. One other arena that I want to mention that I think we've had an impact is to be able to recoup taxpayers' money that has been stolen by corporate corruption. We've been successful in recovering $3 billion from the state of Mississippi in the past 12 years. There are not many other state agencies that bring in that kind of income to the state that, it's taxpayer money that's been taken from us. It started with WorldCom. That was a $100 million tax fraud. We got a building that was their old headquarters downtown, and we made them pay our attorney's fees. We've worked in the area of securities fraud, and just most recently, y'all remember Standards & Poor's is the credit rating agency that blessed all of these mortgage-backed securities. And they knew when we got into their emails, we knew that what they were doing, they knew was wrong. They were charging more to approve those mortgage packages than any others. And they were making literally millions and millions and millions of dollars by processing those mortgage packages, when they knew very well that it was wrong. What really got me about the credit rating agencies, we were the second state in the nation to file suit in that case, and we were one of the lead states in the negotiation of that $33 million settlement that came to Mississippi, was that you expected the Wall Street bankers to do some funny financing. Historically, over the past 100 years, we've seen cycles of where that's occurred. But for those credit rating agencies to portray themselves as if they were pure as driven snow, and they blessed those things and made more money at it than they did other credit ratings, somebody should have went to jail. That was the role of the federal government, but unfortunately they did not. But we extracted over $1 billion from Standard & Poor's, and we still have a case going against the other two credit rating agencies, primarily credit rating agencies. We extracted $1 billion, and we think that's about what they made in profit. They took a risk. They made a decision that they knew better. Unfortunately, we have some of those companies out there that take advantage of the states, take advantage of the consumers, and it's our job to protect those people. You've given me the opportunity as Attorney General to fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And I don't know of any job I'll ever have where I'm able to fight for the working people and people in the state of Mississippi. And as a result of fighting for them, it's helped Mississippi businesses. I hope you will recognize that. We have an election coming up next Tuesday. Even if you tend to vote Republican, I hope you'll switch over on the ticket and vote for Jim Hood for Attorney General. I love being your Attorney General for 3 terms, and I hope that I will get a 4th. God bless you, and it's great to be with you. Thank you.